point of view. Then in food defense, it is against just opposite to the food safety. It is intentional contamination of food products. That is physical, chemical, biological, even radiological is being taken into account, because in India, radiology is not in such a way, but actually it is coming much more in other part of the world. So here it is totally a prevention of the intentional contaminations, and these are basically a behavioral or ideologically motivated people who are in the systems can create an fuss. Then the third one is food fraud. Food fraud is also basically intentional, where towards the economically motivated. Again, this is intentional things. So these basic things like food defense, food safety, and food fraud to understand, then we can, this comes under three categories. That is, when you talk about food safety, it is called HACCP, that is hazard analysis critical control points, where in a process how we are taking steps to control those measures to give the particular food within the limits. Then food defense talks about threats, what's generally happening, and that is motivatedly people who are behaving in the systems. Those things comes into the threat. We are analyzing this. That is called threat analysis critical control point. Then HACCP, that is vulnerabilities, food fraud, economically motivated. That is vulnerable analysis critical control points. These three things can club always together. Now, as rightly already Mr. Purushottam ji has told about audit, same explanations. And these are three types of audits to make it simple: first party, third party, second party, third party. Simply, we are given this internal assessment is the first party, and third party suppliers and customers audits, and independent certification bodies who comes and does the third party audits. Now, the reasons why the food safety audit, any audit is this. Actually, everybody knows any food product is being packed commodities. Generally, all foods are to be sold in a pack. That is a good thing, good for the human body. When you come talk about the packets, you can understand many people doesn't know. They will see only the brand or the lucrative approach or the designs. How I don't know, 90% Indian population never see the nutrition informations or ingredient declarations or statutory declarations. Generally, we should see what is declared. Generally, our mind will go as a normal customers of India. We just see the MRPs, just see the nutrition informations, just see the ingredients, what they say, just see the storage conditions, just see the shelf life. Then all these things are coming. When I am declaring in my packet, I'm bound to give that particular product as intended use of this particular product. If it is edible oil with a frying purpose, then I should say for the intended use frying purpose, that should be declared. If it is some other bakery, I should say this is for puff and curry. If it is for margarine, this is for cake. So this information has to be available in the packets. Those, whether we complain in my house or in your house, you will keep everything as per your thing, and you say that is mine and that is right. How you know this is not something different? When external people, when friends or any neighbors comes and see the observes, then they say this is we changed, then this is nothing but this is called audits. The same way we do. So determine the conformity, what is the legal thing says. This is the weight. Now also people might be knowing whether the liquid should be packed in ml basis or in weight basis. The big dialogue is happening between FSSA, legal metrology, and the packets. Now it is going on, and I think one solution will be approaching shortly. Then these audits will go to help the system improvement, whether we are following the right systems or how to reduce the negativity in the systems. Then the third one is to meet the contract requirements. Somebody may be asking us to do the job. I'm doing whether this is meeting the requirements. Then customer assurance, I'm giving the customer that I'm packing this with as per the requirements or as per the laid-out standards. Then effectiveness, the regulatory things, and mainly to marketing aspects to gain the to major popularity. So people should just buy after seeing this ad like this. So audit is nothing but here's a diamond system. You have to ask, record, check, and observe. Basically the qualities. If you see generally what are the things generally in food risks are happening, and who is involved in this? If everybody say who is involved, everybody going to say a packer, everybody say the producer. But if you see, surprisingly, if you see these agencies, one is the Government of India, there's FSSA, state and local authorities, vegetable oils and producers associations and department, and food producers, processors, food sellers, and consumers. These all people are involved in this, and means everybody has a piece of actions in their making your food in better way. Hello, and you can see the foodborne illnesses. See why you are taking always US. US is considered to be the best in considering every aspects of their activities from any product to the non-product. We see in this case there are 2 million cases of foodborne illnesses reported every year. This is every year. How it is happening? To see the contribution, you can see this improper holding temperature. If you see this improper holding temperature is 37%. Personal hygiene comes next with 22%. Inadequate cooking comes 17%. Contaminated equipment comes 10%. Food from unsafe source 7%, other 7%. This is very alarming. This is true at present scenario as well. Why this is coming? Actually, everybody talks about food safety. Actually, I want to thank Mr. Purushottam. We talked about PDCA. Actually, in any organization, we have to take care of three things: one, man, machine, and materials. So these things comes under general category, but as a good manufacturing practice, every company has ISO 9001 discussed quality management system, which is the base of any food audits or any audits. They generally follow one principle called PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act. Now that is taking care of this quality management. Don't consider equally with quality. Then comes this quality management systems, then environmental management systems, then occupational health and safety. So these three are clubbed together in a factory. As a producer, as a baker, we have to ensure all the three is being handled. You can see these contributors. All the three are coming in this responsibility. Now, if you see in this way, contaminated equipment and personal hygiene needs comes to 30% of the cases here. And both these cases are coming under GMP, General Manufacturing. So it is your job. The food processing plant, we have to accept our responsibility, put the knowledge to work. Means it is a sharing of knowledges. We should be able to share and give trainings. We used to say 1 minute talk, the people just to come and discuss, they have to give a point. They have to talk about what they're going to do. Not by, we will train them, and the laborers or the workers has to give in 1 minute that they are what going to do about the food safety aspects. And they should know that they are working for this food, which we are going to make it for the safe. And then hazardous. We should know how the food become hazardous by contamination of harmful substances, and there are three types of contamination as at present is chemical, physical, microbiological. Now radiological is also coming. There are some people include allergens also. Everything comes under hazard. Now how to take it? So it comes to the food safety, all these things we have to keep together. Since time is not there, I'm unable to explain the previous slide. Otherwise, I can give much more examples and all. We'll go quickly for the food safety. Food safety is nothing but, as rightly earlier my speaker has told about the PRPs. PRP is not the basic requirements to start any operations of food, plus the hazard analysis control point. We are not talking, even though it comprises of PASAP and TESAP, now we'll talk about the food safety aspects. I will try to give much importance to the how we are analyzing the risks that involved in the business. Now, what is HACCP? This is hazard analysis critical control point. Everybody may be knowing, but how it is, but it's a systematic approach. Again, this comes under this quality management system, that is PDA cycle. We have to plan the systematic approach to identify. We have to evaluate it. We have to determine the limits. We have to validate. We have to assure. Then we have to record. Then we have to see that the system is capable of reducing the hazards. Now, sorry, then the prerequisite programs. These are the prerequisite programs. Sorry, the procedures including GMPs, the address of operational conditions. Then a little deep if you want to go. Everybody knows there are 7 principles in HACCP. This is this. Why not you conduct a hazard analysis, can determine the CCPs, the critical control points. What is the limit of this the critical control point? How to monitor this procedure? How to make the corrective actions? How to make the verifications? Then comes the validation. Then comes the record keeping and documentation. Which for this, this is not required. Who is responsible in any plant? Packing, quality assurance for the hazard things, purchase for safe raw material, sales looking of the safe customers, logistics, the clean transportations, management is looking of the trace and recall. Everybody should understand food safety is not one-man business. It is a top-driven from top to bottom. Everybody should understand from the raw material purchase to the freezers until it reaches the customers in their kitty or in their kitchen, that packers are responsible. So this what makes the food industry work on a close association with requirement of the world standards. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Sorry for the interruption. And as explained, to determine the planning and relation of the safe products in food safety management system, there should be a food safety team. Generally, the mistakes done by the food industry is this: food safety team generally they'll keep the quality assurance. That is the basic mistakes that are generally the assumption. Food safety team is a combination of every department. They can put together, they can work together to determine what the product they are making and how they are intended use. They're making this product for the intended use. Then the characteristics of the food you have to explain what you are going to make it. Then intended use. Then flow diagrams has to show clearly what you are talking about. How it is the analysis of the risks. Then the process steps. Then control measures. Then finally the hazard analysis. This should come. Then we can determine this food what you are making is as per the requirement. I gave some examples how to make. There is a second past class, there is ISO 22001. There is given the class. These are the PRP requirement, construction of the building. Then we have to make the system such a way. Where is the contents? What is that location of the building? Then documented things have to be that. This is what our auditing agents are verifying. When they come to the visit the plan, they will check this. Then layout and promises, utilities like air, water, energy. Then waste disposal, equipment suitability, management of purchased material, measure of prevention of cross-contamination. That is very important in any food industry. Then cleaning and sanitation, pest control, personal hygienic policies, then rework, product recall, warehousing, product information, and food defense. This all covers under PRP. Then comes, this is followed by the evaluations. Then this is for verifications. Like this, then comes the steps to be involved in the hazard plan. When you do this, you have to see what is PRP, what is OPRP, what is CP, what is CCP. Maybe here in a plant, how it happens. I explained you what is PRP, the 18 points, 18 the requirement, but OPRP is the operational prerequisite for running this, for how to maintain the temperature, what the pressure to be maintained, whether this is critical or not, whether this is required or not. If it is required, where to keep it. If it is not required, then whether it is playing a major role or minor role. Then it is controllable, non-controllable. These things are identified by using these techniques. That means how to make it. You have to basis you got to prepare. Now, what is the risk? It is the happening is nothing but occurrence and the severity. I'm giving a table, how many times it happened, it is no, it is not happened, it is harmful or objectionable, this is likely to occur, not likely to occur, and you can see this is a chart is given where is the severity is significant or non-significant or insignificant. If it is significant, then you take it into the severity level. Otherwise, no need to give much on this severity levels or determinations of the CCPs. Now, this is the codex tree. You have to simply put all your analysis or your verifications or your audits in the systems and identify each and every steps involved in your process for making any product. If it is showing that it is a control points or critical control points, accordingly you can take. Otherwise, you can simply leave it as such. No need to put everywhere. We have seen number of factories are putting number of CCPs and number of CCPs without knowing why it is a CCPs. And if you see the numbering, you can see P11 receipt and all like this. You have to give every code. Then numbering of the systems. On that basis, you can study. We can give the really, which is where we have to study this. Identification of potential hazard, whether it's physical, chemical, or biological. Then this is significant or not. It justifies the decision. What are the preventive measures you are having, and consider whether it's a CCP or OPRP. It is not on that basis. There is further step is given in the ISO or FSSC stating that what are the steps to be followed. Here I am showing a flow diagram. How the product is being made and it will be dispatched in a bulk load, how we have to give the naming with the identifications. You can see crude oil vessel, the shipment is coming, you can see P11. Then you can see storage tank goes P21, where the storage, which tank it is being stored, then which is the service tank P3.1. Like this, the coding has to be given. So the auditor can easily identify this is the point he's talking about. This is to assure that whatever I'm declaring in my packet is meeting the requirements. Correct. So like this we are going. Then this using these steps we go to determine the critical control points. On that basis we go to determine. Now I have put A, B, C, D, E, F here. There are 7 points is answered in the ISO 22000 7.4.4. If you see that there are 7 questions, you put all your identified points on this and see measure it. You can give 5-point score, you can give 10-point scale and measure it, and you can fix on your determinations and verification and validation to determine whether it's an operational prerequisite or is a critical point or critical control points. On that basis, you go to identify all the things. Since time frame, I'm not showing you much more. I'm running on this. Now, these are the 7 questions. This is the fixed questions across the globe. You have to put all the 7 points. When you're supplying any food, you simply follow the 7 questions. All your doubts will be cleared. So on that basis, you have to find it out, and you can see Here also, after that, in verification or monitoring process, the particular point we're asking what will be done, who will be done, when it will be done, how it will be done. Then we have to say the preventive and corrective actions, then verification methods and record keeping. These things has to be systematically, diligently, and systematically we have to follow. Then only the system will be effective. That's why we have to ensure this. Now, planning of verification planning is very important. We have to see, for example, I'm checking a pressure. I have to say what is the description, checking the pressure, index pressure or horizontal pressure or differential purpose. What's the purpose of this? Then which methodology I'm going to follow. The frequency, 1 hour, 2 hour, every shift or twice or thrice in a shift, those things to be defined. And the responsibility considered by operator or the shift engineer, those responsibility has to be defined by the food safety team. So the food safety team plays a major role. Otherwise, we cannot simply say you follow this. We can that many factors do, which is the violations, which the auditors can generally catch hold during the audits. And in audits also, identification traceability. For example, my final product you are saying, my factor you are taking from market, there is an issue you are talking. We will ask the batch number. From that, we can go back to the raw material which is purchased, from where it is purchased. These identifications, we can be traceability. Everything will be taken in this activity. Then confirmation and non-confirmations, how the controlling measures being adopted, how effective it is, that should be also be taken into account. The process of corrective actions is very much valid. I told what, when, where, how the people should do corrective and recording things have to be done. How to handle the unsafe products. That is very major issue and people are following it. They generally in food industry, in case of biological, it is being destroyed. Other chemical can be reused by reprocessing methods, which is valid. And all the control processes are validated by the internal peoples, external peoples, and also the external auditors, including the government of India. Now, FSSA is doing audit unannounced with entering the factories and doing all the audits. Now, give me 1 second, Prita ma'am, I'm seeing you. And valuation of all these results are updated, and we are going like this. And finally, the consumer complaints we handle with respect to the food safety issues. Then we have the systems to comply and reply to them, and to satisfy these customers also coming in systems which we have to record as per the FSSA requirement. And just given all the things in a nutshell, so I'm taking an opportunity to say we are certain that everything what we have discussed will be implemented with you, your plans, or right away in your jobs and all, in the right spirit for the betterment of the whole system of India. Okay. I think any questions you can ask me, I can explain you later. And thank you for the opportunity given, Ms. Prita.
Thanks so much, sir, for sparing time out and letting us into the audit system. So Purushottam ji and Govindarajan sir, I think we couldn't have asked for a better to take up this session today. So now I'm opening the dais. We are enabling the chat and we'll be taking questions from the participants. Just let me enable it. Give me a moment. So the chat is enabled. All the participants, you can raise your questions here. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to put it across our speakers. So there is a question from Mr. Karan. He's asking, when should one go for being a lead auditor? I think Purushottam ji and Govindarajan sir, you both can take a call to answer, I think.
Okay, so since the question is about being a lead auditor, I would say that you gain adequate experience working in industry, gain experience of the process, like the way Mr. Govindarajan is explaining the importance of the food safety compliance requirements, and get the on-shop floor experience, because you require that when you want to get into auditor's shoes. So a successful auditor is one who comes with the industry experience and then does the lead auditor course and gets into auditing process. That is my take on this.
Okay. So Govindarajan sir, would you want to add anything to this? You're on mute, sir. Govindarajan sir, you're on mute.
Sorry. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am. See, entering in food industry is now a great opportunity for the people to do a lot of things in their curriculum or in their career objectives. What do you want to do for your country? You can enter the food field now. Because, as rightly said, Mr. Purushottam, you should have minimum knowledge, at least 1 year experience with whatever you do now. At least have this experience. Then you enter. Then what will happen? It will be easy to understand what we are talking about. For example, if I say something, you should go as per the class 7.4.4, definitely you're not going to understand what is they're going to talk about. So basic thing is just enter into your field, understand which field you're talking about. Areas are different. For example, you are doing purchasing department. How are they doing? One, raw material check what they are doing, what the process is doing, what the final product is being, how it is being packed, how it is dispatched, how the transportation taking place. Each and every area you can take into these things. So just put yourself there. Have 1 or 3 months experience, apply yourself with the other colleagues. Don't do audit by your own jobs. See the audit of other departments. Then only you will learn. Then apply this in your real life as well. And within a year, you will get some mastery. Get guidance from the seniors. Attend the programs like this. You will get some insights. Within a year, you can apply for this lead audit course. You will get a better advantage.
So the second question is from Ms. Akriti Ahuja. She is asking, how does second party help in supply chain? Second party audits, how does it help with the supply chain management?
Okay, so this question I will take because I explained this. See, if you look at the definition of a second party audit, the audit of a manufacturing organization on its suppliers. That is the basic definition of a second party audit. So in order to secure your supply chain, you need to have a process to ensure that the suppliers are complying. Okay, it may be against your own protocol or maybe a global protocol or an international standard. So auditing against the requirements to your suppliers will ensure that they are compliant and ensures that your supply chain is secure.
I will add something to this, Mr. Purushottam. Thank you. Actually, I will tell you. See, since I am in an industry where I'm making a food, I used to do audit my suppliers. My suppliers generally vitamin suppliers, antioxidant suppliers. We used to go there to see. First question is, please show the raw material purchase and storage. Whether it is hygienically followed, whether it is done as per the requirements, law of the land is followed, these things being taken into account, then we'll see the storage, then process, then how it is being done, where is the violations, any deviations is being followed, if it is assured or if it is what they are doing in case of deviation with rejected material, these things are all taken into account. Then the final product of the storage, on whether the FIFO or FIFO, whether it's being adapted or on what basis is being dispatched, everything is assured. Once we have our own systems or we follow certain audit documentations. Now FSSA also given certain checklists. Yes. We can do that. Yeah. On that basis also we can verify. Once it is complying 70% to 80% the score, we can approve these people. Otherwise it will get rejected.
Yeah. The third question that I'm taking is from Dr. S. Gupta. He is saying that as a food processor doing the manufacturing, what are the points that must be considered when planning the setup of the manufacturing unit? Those points that when considered beforehand can help later in maintaining food safety as per the criteria.
It's a beautiful question. In fact, I think it's a very good question. Really, sir, I appreciate this question. Mr. Dr. Sir, whenever you start a business, the raw material purchase is going to play a major role. You cannot put a garbage in, garbage out. What you have to do is the best material, get the best materials. For example, if it is you should have an action plan. You are getting a good material means how you are storing. Generally, there is a principle that every processor has to keep the material dumping on the ground. Don't do this. You should always keep 1 foot away of the ground and don't put any material on the wall, near the walls or above the walls. You should put away from the walls. These things should assure, and on that basis, if you are able to control those aspects, then automatically not only raw materials, even processed chemicals, for example, chemicals being industry, get the best things and use those kind of things. If it is required, don't use more percentages of chemicals to reduce particular parameters. So those things should be taken into account. Then during process, why the temperature is increased or decreased? If it is increased, what is the repercussions and implications? If it is decreased, again, what is this? If these steps are being seriously taken into any account, your process losses, your anything you can minimize, including the cost. Because everything, any industry, when the price is increasing, they will say increase the chemicals or decrease the chemicals. So that we got to be assuring that. Then finally, during dispatch also, which used to be whether you follow FIFO or FIFO, and you justify that when this is being FIFO, then this is this, FIFO, this is this. Even sometimes, even for a FIFO system, the material what received may be a poor quality. You got to use that kind of things. So that is a meticulous planning entirely in a systematic way.
Couple of this, Mr. Govindarajan, very good question and a great answer too. Just I wanted to add one point over here. If you look at what makes an audit pass or fail, 70% of the audits are won by the infrastructure. Okay. Otherwise, you sit on that legacy for next 20 years. So when you are planning an infrastructure, plan it in such a way that it is compliant to not only today's requirement but also next 20 years to come. Not only infrastructure technology built into the system and expandable based on the changes that are going to happen. So that will help you comply and continuously comply over a period of time. That's the input I wanted to add.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm taking the last question for today. It's from Saloni. She's asking, does a customer have right to visit the industry for ensuring whether the products are as per regulations and GMP?
Customers have anytime they can visit. We are open. Actually, some industries are open for the customer suggestions. We have, to be frank, some big MNCs like us. We have a customer panel as well. We'll be selecting. We'll be giving the things. They can come and visit. They can do all these things is possible. And it depends upon the notion. For example, the intended visit or whatever the things they want to. It should be open-ended. There is no issue. Anytime you can visit the factory.
So now I request all the candidates, who are attending the session, kindly share your name and email ID in the chat. We will be sharing a feedback link with you. Once you give the feedback of the session, you will be getting a certificate of participation from FICSI for the session today. Yeah. Okay. So I think we're getting the email IDs. So again, I would like to end the session by thanking our speakers, Govindarajan sir and Purushottam ji, for really taking time out and, giving such a wonderful session on food safety audits. I'm just reading the comments, about how the webinar went in the comments section here on the Microsoft Teams. So I think we couldn't have asked for a better, as I said earlier, better duo to take this forward. So for all the people who are asking, whether where they can get the slides or the presentation, we have the recorded session available on our FICSI portal and also on our YouTube channel. The entire session was running live there, and it's recorded and it is available for you to have a look and see again and again. Yeah. So lastly, I would like to request each and every one of you, thank you so much, for taking time out and joining us today for this session. And please make sure, that you do follow us across all our different social media handles so that, you get updates about all our activities, webinars, events, and the training sessions that we conduct, on a regular manner. Thanks, everyone. Stay safe. And thanks again, Govindarajan sir. For joining.
Thank you.
So
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, Preeta ma'am and Rohit. So nice. And I appreciate Preeta ji. I think you catch hold now actually. Lot of projects keep us preoccupied things. What I'm saying is what my plan after seeing this number of participants and all, really it is that we should do something in still better way.
Definitely.
We can conduct one online on-site program also you can do.
Yes, definitely, sir. I'll be in touch with you, sir. So what happens is I would just like to apprise you that the entire session was attended by over 380 participants.
Oh, great.
So there were people who are watching us live on YouTube also. And today's session here, we clocked the maximum attendees over 300 just on the Microsoft Teams itself. So I think auditing and knowledge about the food system audits is a very important and integral part for the food industry, because there is still a lot of scope and a lot of work, that the food industry here has to do to come up, to a level where we can be really saying that, the food, whatever you get in India is really safe and hygienic. So there are many companies who are already doing it, but as you know, we are a developing country, and there are food industries, who run through various different levels. We have many MSMEs also in the food, and there are, I think, the number of unorganized food business units, they are much more than the organized food processing units in our country. So disseminating this knowledge and trying to, tell them why auditing is necessary, what are the benefits, and why, they should incorporate audits. A, because it's a regulatory requirement. B, it is a form of, ensuring, that the product that they manufacture is going to be safe. How they can do that? So this is again something, for all the participants here. We'll be coming up with many more sessions on different aspects of audits and food safety management. So we have started the webinar series again for this year. And every month, at least one webinar will be conducted by FICSI. We could be scheduling more than one webinar also in a few months. So please keep on, visiting our website for updated information. Any which ways, we will be contacting you whenever we come up with such knowledge sharing sessions in the future.
Thank you.
So
Thank you, man.
thanks again, everyone.
Thank you.
Purushottam ji. I know even you are super busy. It's really hard, getting such busy people to take time out. And I mean, I could actually see the efforts that both of you have put in creating a slide, because audit is such a big topic that, keeping it crisp and concise and limiting it to these few slides is a mighty task. It's not easy at all.
Actually, to be frank with you, why I'm saying on on-site programs like this, when you talk directly, we have that mutual understanding, mutual love and affection happens when you interact with the people, and they have lot of points in the same question, lot of answers will be coming. We'll explain the practical examples. Not that I cannot say that in America, you can say practically in a tea shop why the filter is being done, what the temperature. We can show those things. That is going to help us understand much better. And what we want to teach the people's young generation is going to help in the future generations. That's what.
Yeah.
And I think I'm happy to see Mr. Purushottam as well, because a lot of contacts in DNB. Of course, I have not met Mr. Purushottam. I think I met him.
Pleasure.
We should definitely plan on a meet. I mean, I think COVID just keeps on messing with the plans all the time. But
you call me at any point of time. I will come on myself. No need for any sponsorship. Also, I will come and do on best.
You're most welcome to visit our office, sir, in Delhi. Anytime you are, please. Both of you, please let me know, and we would be happy to meet.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thanks
so much.
Thank you, Purushottam sir. Nice of you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much, Purushottam sir. Thank you so much, Govindarajan sir.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Yes.